Hey guys, welcome back to the other side of the coin. Look, I want to talk about three topics today, but most importantly, I really want to talk about this particular German journalist, Christian Falk, who's come out and he's put a lot of chaos in the Chelsea fan base in regards to Mason Mount. So I want to look into two things about this particular topic. I want to look at from a journalist's point of view, and I want to look at from the player's point of view and the kind of impact this particular player has had for Chelsea. So first of all, let's talk about the story, and then we'll go on to the player's impact and the journalist's impact. So Christian Falk has come out and he tweeted something yesterday saying, Kai Havertz is excited to come to Chelsea. He's got his teammate Timo Werner, Rudiger. And he snuck in a particular, information there in his tweet that Mason Mount is unhappy with these expensive rivals that he has now for competition, I suppose. So the whole tweet, it just didn't make any sense. And off the back of that tweet, a whole heap of other journalists that actually cover Chelsea football categorically has come out and said that's incorrect. There's apparently been some words from Tony Mount, who's Mason Mount's father, has come out and said that's absolutely ludicrous. There's no way Mason thinks that way. And from a fan's point of view, it kind of doesn't make sense either. Like Mason Mount, if you look at the player's characteristics from last season, for all the people that has followed him, he is a complete team player. I can't imagine how he would come out or he would even be thinking that all of these, new players that we're getting in, which are going to enhance our team, he's going to come out and think that, now I've got all these expensive rivals, I'm upset about it. I can't imagine how a player could think like that, especially a Chelsea player. Chelsea is known to have all great players and known to be winning competitions, winning titles. Having better players around you would only make you better. So I can't imagine how Mason Mount could ever think that way. So it's 100% false. But now let's start off with the journalist side of things. This is exactly the kind of journalism I would say that was the issue in Sarri's season as well, where a whole heap of journalists will come out and write a whole heap of utter rubbish, and this is what it is from Christian Falk, absolute utter rubbish that he's come out and stated that about Mason Mount, which seriously has no basis to it at all. He's just looked for quick likes and I suppose retweets, and get some traffic into his page, I suppose, but they forget the kind of impact they're going to have on these players who honestly they are quite focused, like they do see social media. They look at social media, they know what's going on. And as I said, Tony Mount has come out and spoken to, I think a few of the Chelsea journalists that cover this whole, cover Chelsea as a whole. And, someone like Tony Mount, if he's coming out and checking all this stuff, I'm sure his son, Mason Mount's obviously across this particular news as well. So these journalists don't realize what impact they're having. A story like that could create unnecessary tension in not only in the Chelsea Football Club as a whole, but for the player. This is how you break down a particular player. Now, looking at the player, this player has had an amazing season last season. Yes, there was a middle section where he wasn't that great, but that happens to any player, to any elite player, let alone someone like Mason Mount, who's just started his career in Chelsea last season. But overall, there's no doubt Mason Mount is Frank Lampard's most trustworthy player. Frank has depended on this player throughout. It's no coincidence that Mason Mount has played that many minutes last season. He understands the style. He understands exactly what Frank wants. And his energy, his pressing ability is so infectious. He creates that mood, that sort of, presence, that push that the team needs when they see someone like Mason Mount working so hard. So absolutely no coincidence that he's played that many minutes last season. He was so vital for us right at the end. Post-lockdown, that restart period, he was absolutely pivotal. And obviously in that last game against Wolves, he's the one who created all of that, opportunities and that goal, that assist for Giroud's goal as well. He's the one who's helped us get that top 4 right at the end. So I've got no issues that this player, Mason Mount, in this coming season will feature a lot as well, and he'll take his game to the next level. I've said it many times previously that yes, we've got all these big players coming through, Werner, Ziyech, Kai Havertz, but I think people are going to realize that Mason Mount's definitely going to have a huge season. Look, it's reasonable to think that he may not play that many minutes as he played last season because of all these players, but that's fine. I think he played a hell of a lot of minutes that he probably shouldn't have played last season, but he had to because of all the injuries, the lack of form, not enough depth. But now we've got depth, so he will get enough rest in between, which will only be great for him. So overall, look, it's a rubbish statement from Christian Falk. Mason Mount will feature quite a lot under Frank Lampard in this coming season, and he's going to relish the opportunity with all of these top signings that we've made, and his level of football will only rise. So that's a bit about that whole story, which is utter nonsense. Now to the next stories. David Zappacosta, he's been touted to go to Atalanta. There's reports coming out that personal terms have been agreed. He's once again one of those particular players, just simply doesn't fit our system. He was brought in during the Conte era, specifically for Conte and his system. We're moving away from that kind of stuff now. We're more focused on players that are going to be here even beyond if a manager leaves. I'm not saying Frank is going to leave. Frank, I hope, is here for a very long time. But the kind of players that are coming in are players that can play in many systems. So David Zappacosta doesn't fit that particular mold, and I'm glad that hopefully he's found a place in Atalanta, and hopefully we can finalize that. And lastly, about the keeper situation. Look, I think undoubtedly we are going to get a goalkeeper. A lot of people are talking about, are we done in the transfer market? We're 100% not done. I think Frank and Fabrizio Romano has mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, who's a top guru in transfer news, that Chelsea are definitely going to find a competition. Whether it's a replacement, I don't know. I don't think it's quite feasible to get rid of Kepa, but we can definitely provide him competition. I don't think Caballero is great competition for Kepa. And, at the moment we are heavily touted with Eduard Mendy from Rennes in the French league. He's an absolute monster. I covered him a few weeks ago in one of my videos, and he's the one who's touted to be, coming in and joining Chelsea. And I think this keeper is fairly okay. I know there's other really good keepers in France, but this keeper would provide. He's cheap at the moment. He's not. I think it's touted to be about 20 million euros. He's tall. His hands are like monstrous hands. His reach is amazing. He's got quite a lot of clean sheets. Save percentages are quite high. So he would provide really good competition for Kepa. I think at the end of the day, Kepa definitely needs competition. And hopefully we can improve his performance and get back some parts of Kepa that we saw in the first season. So look out for that. I'll elaborate a lot more about this whole goalkeeper situation in another video, as I said in my previous video. But today's whole news was about Mason Mount. Guys, let me know what your thoughts are about all of these topics, especially around the whole Mason Mount situation. If you've enjoyed this video, smash the like button. If you're here for the first time, subscribe and hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Until next time, see you.